Hey everyone, a really warm welcome back to the channel. Well, in today's video I want to show you how I made these things. So this is a padded travel bag for an electric hot plate, and also this thing, which is a padded travel bag, which is a bit disgusting now, it's been out a few times, a padded travel bag for our aluminium camping table. So let's get into the kitchen, if it doesn't fall off. Let's get into the kitchen and I'll talk you through what I did as you're watching the footage of it being made. So I wasn't too worried about what the things looked like, which meant I just used up random scraps of fabric. And the hot plate bag is fairly simple, so it's simply a rectangle of fabric that's been stitched across the middle to hold the two layers from sliding against each other, because it's got one layer of very slippery fabric, and then stitched around the edges, the two short edges turned over. So if you imagine you've got your right sides out, just turn the bad sides in and then hem them together like that. So those two ends done, and then folded into an envelope, one side slightly taller than the other, and then stitched up down the side, and then check the distance between the two and stitched up down the other side. So very nice and simple. And then I did a test fit, because although I'm making it as a flat envelope style, it's got to go over quite a chunky 3D shape. So by the time you've put both layers over, then probably you need a little longer fabric on the top to be able to go all the way down and then stop at the same seam point over the top. So test fit's really important. It's sort of design as you go along a little bit. Once one side was stitched and trimmed, the exact width could be checked and then set again by stitching. And the final step was to hand stitch a couple of these elastic cords into place and put some funky buttons on. They came off some old curtains, and a couple of loops of this red corded elastic to hold the whole thing closed. Et voila, one padded hot plate bag. So the next bag project was a little bit more complicated, because I wanted to put a zip into that one, and so in order to keep everything as compact and to be able to use it to keep the table closed, then it made sense to actually make it as a 3D shaped bag. So the shape I was heading for was very much a box with a zip that went round the long edge and part of the short edge to make it easier to get the table in and out. I use the same waterproof beige stuff on the outside, because I've got loads and loads of that from a failed patio shade project, but this time it went on the outside, and then I had a layer of navy Berber fleece on the inside, again left over from another project. And as I said, this bag will have a 3D shape, so I need a top and a bottom and two short sides, and then a front face and a back face. But I only padded the large faces, so the front and the back faces. Otherwise, I thought the bag was just going to be far too bulky, and thus it would have been a bit awkward if I'd padded all the edges, I think. Oh, and do you like my long ruler? So it's actually a bit of awning rail that I really must get around to putting up on the outside of the house, so that I can dry the awning off rather than trying to throw it over the washing line, because really it's far too heavy for putting there. So the next job was to insert the zip, and I knew I wanted to put it on an L shape along the long side and part of the short side. So I knew what the measurements were, so I just made it up a little bit longer than expected, and I used coiled nylon because that goes around shapes quite nicely, and made up those pieces into the length I wanted, and it was cut to length zip, so I didn't have to worry about any specific lengths and ordering zips of a specific size, because I didn't need it to be open-ended at each end. So the way that I put this in is the normal way, so just hemmed two pieces to sit either side of the zip itself, and then stitched the zip in the middle using the special zipper for the sewing machine. Now this is a caravan channel, not a sewing channel, but there are millions and millions, well maybe not millions, there are lots of great sewing channels out there which can teach you how to use a machine, so I'm not going to propose to do that here, but I'll put a couple of links in the description if you want to follow along and seek some advice from those experts. I'm just an amateur finding my way, so I don't really feel equipped to be teaching people to sew, and certainly some of my stuff can be a little bit messy, so look at the pros. I'll put some links below. So once that was done, then I prepared the padded face pieces and then stitched the zip side in. So all the side pieces were then attached to one of the face pieces, just stitched all the way around. So all I'm trying to do here is form a box shape. As you can see, I got a little bit into autopilot mode and stitched all the way around rather than stopping to insert the straps for the handles. Really, I should have added these to the face before stitching, but I guess as I was checking the fit as I was going along, sort of simultaneously perfecting the design and making the thing, it happened to come at this stage. If you're doing it from scratch, you can always put your handles on the faces first. Anyway, it was easy to sort out. It was just unpicking a few stitches and then redoing the seams and stitching the rest of the handle into place. Luckily, it was a small enough bag that I could roll the rest of the fabric to get it through the machine. Obviously, it wouldn't work for a much bulkier thing. Then for the last face, I knew where I wanted the handle on the opposite side in exactly the same place, so I could easily stitch it on first. And then all I had to do was pin around that face onto the side walls and stitch the whole lot together. And that formed the final box shape. So obviously this is for a caravan, not a motorhome, so I'm not too worried about reducing noise, but by being padded, it is helpful, obviously if you've got a motorhome, but for me the interest is in protecting the surfaces as well, protecting them in transit, because the table's aluminium, so it dents really easily, and frankly both of them could do with a bit of containment. The table is sprung loaded, so it's got a habit of popping open at random moments, and then the power cord of the hot plate would also benefit from being kept much tidier, and then it's easy, just so much easier to get everything in and out of the storage lockers, because both of the things live under the benches. Then last job was just tidy up and trim all the seams and then turn everything the right way around, and ta-da! One lightly padded table bag. So I hope you enjoyed those couple of little makes. I guess with all these things it's just a case of giving it a go. You know, the risk is that you waste your time and your money, but the payoff is that potentially you get something pretty unique that isn't available anywhere else. So, you know, give it a go. That's my advice. So here's the hot plate bag. Color-coded corded elastic, and I've used the same thread on the buttons to try and just give it a little bit of something, make it look a bit nicer. And then they just unpop, and then the hot plate itself slips inside. That's a bit disgusting, should have been cleaned better before it got put away last time. But the great thing about this is it keeps the cord, so the power cable, all nicely contained within the bag itself, because otherwise when it's down in the locker with all the electrical stuff rattling around, then the cord tends to get caught up with other stuff, so then when you come to get it out it's just a bit of a pain in the neck to try and extract something from the cupboard. So with the super slippery smooth lining that went in there, so the waterproof lining, that helps with two things. So first of all, if it's a bit mucky, when it goes away then it's easy to wipe down, so it's easy to get clean afterwards, and because it's nice and slippery it's fairly easy to get it in whilst keeping the bag nice and tight. So what I did here is I simply left a couple of edges here, this one's slightly longer than that one, so that I can then fold that bit over, fold that bit over the top there, and elastic's down, and then there's no way any of the cords or anything else is going to come out. So that's a nice tidy package for the cupboard. And then with the table bag, as I showed while I was doing the stitching, I've got the zip coming all the way along this long edge, and then part way down the short edge as well, and there's a handle in here to help pick it up. And that is disgusting as well. Somebody did not wipe that down, and that just keeps the table all together, because these legs are sprung and they have a habit of whooshing out all the time, and the same with the tabletop. So unless it's kept folded, then it just expands to fill all available space. So this keeps it nice and tidy and out the way, and it means it's very easy to drop into the storage space under the bed, just picking the handles up and down. Well, I could do some bicep curls with that as well, couldn't I? Anyway, makes it really easy to get in and out of the storage, and keeps everything together, stops it from opening up. And for us, these bags have worked out really well, because as you know, this caravan is tiny, so uber organization, you know, really specific places for everything is absolutely critical to life in this caravan, and keeping the packing the same. So I keep the same nose weight all the time, and that just keeps things simple as possible, so there's less faffing involved. So it makes it much easier to get these things in and out of the storage boxes, and I can tell the kids what bag they're looking for example, and that means I get more useful help, and we get set up and packed down much quicker than we would otherwise. Anyway, remember to hit that bell and the like button if it was useful, and if you hit the bell icon and subscribe, then you get more makes and mods and the occasional actual trip we take in this thing, and it's wonderful to have you along as a subscriber, and thanks to everybody that's subscribed so far. So thanks for tuning in. I guess I'll see you next time. So from me, bye for now. See ya.